Hey guys, thank you guys for joining into Nonprofit Nuggets with Jennifer Yarbrough. I am Jennifer Yarbrough. I'm your nonprofit expert, where I enjoy just coming by and dropping nuggets of information, inspiration, ideas, and concepts to help you take your nonprofit to the next level. I specialize in helping organizations that are just starting up or those who have been struggling and stuck and looking for and needing a strategy to move forward. One of the things that I know is that the work that we do is so important. It is so necessary. And having been in this field now for going on close to 40 years, I can tell you that the work that we do is important, it's relevant. And not only is it passion fulfilling, right? Those of you who start your nonprofits because of your passion, but it is also life changing, life transforming, uplifting. And that is what we do in this industry in terms of serving lives, touching lives, changing communities, not just for today, but I believe for generations to come. And so today I want to talk to you about some very basic truths about fundraising, some very basic truths about fundraising. I know that for many of us, we start our nonprofit organizations with a passion, but not really thinking about the plan and the strategies that are going to work, that always work, right? Systems and strategies and insights that work to generate the revenue needed to operate your program and to fulfill the financial obligations of your organization, right? So your organization cannot exist, or your program rather cannot exist without the stability of your organization, right? Your organization must be stable. That's your leadership, that's your relationship capacity within your community, that's your leadership, that is your connection with the community in support of your program. So when you start your nonprofit, you're not thinking about you're starting a program, you're starting an entity, an organization, a business that your community that can support as your programs grow. All right. And as your impact continues to grow as well. So today we're going to talk about some basic truths about fundraising. All right. So what is fundraising? Fundraising is the opportunity that people get to support and to give into your organization to help further the impact of your program. All right. So it's an opportunity that people take to give to your organization because they believe in the impact of your program, right? 98% of your donors give because of impact. 98% of your donors give because of impact. So fundraising is a lot about articulating impact, showing those in your community, businesses, individuals, corporations, that the work that you do is important, is relevant, is timely, and needed right now. Okay, so let's talk about it. In order to fundraise, again, 98% of your donors give because of impact. You within your organization must have a system and must have a strategy and a means by which you earn trust, right? Earn trust. People give their money on an emotional basis. It's not really a logical basis, it's more of an emotional basis. And so we trust people emotionally, we're connected, we believe them, we believe what they're doing, we buy into the story. And you are trusting them with your resources, right? So to begin with fundraising, it's really about building trust in order for you to inspire, to engage, to motivate, to influence others to see the value in what you do and to buy into their own passion, right? Donors give because of what they believe in, not just because of what you believe in. So you want to build that trust. So you build that trust through your stories, you build that trust through your testimonials, you build that trust through your articulation of impact. You build that trust through letting them know what you're solving, the problem that you're solving, and how they can be engaged and see it. All right, so that's one basic truth. It's really not about money, but building relationships, right? You want to build relationships, not just transactions, but relationships, and then the transactions will come. All right, number two is that you've got to plan and be prepared. You've got to plan to be prepared in terms of evaluating your program effectiveness. You've got to plan to be prepared to talk about what your goals are and what measures are you going to meet. You've got to plan and be prepared to talk about what problem you're solving, what the people are going to look like when they come into your organization, and what they're going to look like when they leave. So having these talking points, having these stories, these testimonials, this information, the stats ready, right? Now you can have conversations with your individuals, with your donors, with your businesses to build trust, right? You've got to build trust based on facts, based on information, based on credibility, based on influence, based on your knowledge, okay? So being prepared to share your story of impact, not just your passion, but talk about what problems you're solving, being prepared in that. Now, this is one tip that can help you and your board be successful in this effort, that you as the executive director, you're more tied to the program than your board is, quite frankly, right? So they come to a meeting maybe once every quarter or once every other month, maybe. But how about you prepare them so that they too can go out and help the organization earn trust in the community, right? Prepare them with the information that's going to help them have those conversations more easily, okay, with those who are in their community. Another basic truth is raising friends is a lot easier than raising money. All right. So, really going into every introduction to see how the connection could be in raising a relationship and raising a friend. Okay. So, raising a friend is way easier than raising money. Okay. So, those of you who are a little hesitant, a little unsure, a little leery, a little afraid of asking for money, then connect with them on an area of relationship, right? What is it that they are interested in? What is it that they know about your organization? What is it that they would like to see solved in the community? And letting them know how you are a influencer, one who is aware and tapped into the problems of the community and how your organization is a part of solving it, right? So when we meet friends, when we meet people that we connect with, there's something that's common. There's a common connection that helps you build friendships. You like the same things. You enjoy going to the same places. You have the similar sense of humor. You are curious about the same things, right? So when you are identifying and connecting with people and organizations within your community, you're looking to where we can connect. How can we connect around the impact? 98% of your donors give because of impact. 98% of your donors give because of impact. So you want to raise friends and relationships with individuals, with businesses, with sponsors around their mutual interests, right? Not necessarily around money. Now, once they realize that you are doing something that they are connected to, that they enjoy, then obviously they're going to want to support it, right? They're going to want to support it. They're going to want to make sure that it's happening and that it's happening successfully. That's when the money conversation comes. All right. So that's a very basic truth. In order to fundraise and to have that ongoing support, the reoccurring funding, it's really around raising friends. Okay. Now, I know many of you have friends. You got your friends, you got your best friends, you got family, but they're not supporting your work. How about they're not connected to your work? All right. They're connected to you, they're not connected to the cause. Okay. You want to find friends who are connected to the cause, connected to the impact that your organization is making. That means that when you retire and you go on and do something else, that whoever is leading the organization, because you are planning to leave a legacy, right? You are planning through your nonprofit to leave a legacy, that whoever is running it, they are connected to the success of your program, not just you. All right. So for those of you whose feelings are hurt because your friends, your best friends, your family are not supporting your work, they're not connected. And that's okay because you've got a whole community that could be, right? So really focus on connecting and building relationships around the mutual concern that your organization is addressing, okay? Is addressing. You really must ask. In order for you to fundraise successfully, there has to be a way and a mechanism to ask. All right. So the ask is not just around the money that you want. The ask is really in letting them know what the money is going to help you to do. what the money is going to allow you to do in the area of program, in the area of impact, in the area of service. So it's not just for money's sake, but it's the money to do what? What goals are your program is going to be able to achieve? How are you going to be successful in expanding your program to be able to serve more people, right? So that's what the money is for. The money is to help you implement, to execute, and to deliver more impactful programs. So it's not really about you're begging for money. You are giving people an opportunity to support something that's worthwhile and life transforming. Let me say that again. You're not begging for money. You're giving people an opportunity who are connected to the work that you do to ensure that your program continues to serve and to inspire and to transform. Okay. So, really thinking about how and how many ways are you giving your supporters and your streams of income an opportunity to give, right? So you've got donors who could give, you've got individuals who could give, you've got major donors who could give, um, you've got corporations who could give, you've got foundations who could give. There's about 7 or 8 ways of giving. So you want to make sure that you are asking all of these different streams in various ways how to give, and not only how to give, but letting them know, remember, they give because of what they're connected to, letting them know that by giving what it is that you're going to be able to accomplish. All right. So again, wanting to earn that trust, right? Having a plan and being prepared, and raising friends, raising relationships based upon impact, listening, right? So, how do you know what they're interested in? You got to listen. You're not going in telling them what you want. You're going in asking them what do they know about your organization and what would they like to see changed as a result of your work. And then inviting them to follow you, to see you, to watch you do what you say you're going to do. Okay. And then give them a way to give, asking. You could ask on social media, you could ask through your website, you could ask through email. There's all kinds of ways. All right. But not just asking, but also letting them know, relating what those funds have enabled your organization to do. All right. So that transparency is another way of building trust. It's another way of building trust. Okay. The next truth about fundraising is that you want to ask for funding now, not later. You want to ask for the funding now, not later, right? So now you're able to have the conversation around why now? What's the urgency of your program? Have the conversation about what's at stake if your organization is not successful. Talk about what's happening now and how your organization is addressing those current issues, and that yours and through your program you're going to be alleviating, you're going to be transforming, you're going to be changing, you're going to be reducing, whatever that goal is or that outcome is, and how by starting now, you are getting ahead of the problem or cutting off the problem before it grows. Okay. So just really, again, being very clear and prepared of what your donors need to hear. You're not just asking them for money as if they go to work just to give you their check. No, they are supporting your work because it's important to them. But how do they know it's important to them? You've got to communicate it. And how do they know that it is an urgent matter that must be addressed right now? It's because you're conveying that to them, right? And you're letting them know the what, the why, the where, and the when, and the how. How can they give? Okay. And so you are attuned to what they're interested in. Again, we're building relationships as well as informing them, being transparent, being a good steward, and letting them know how you are indeed changing that urgent matter, that urgent issue, whatever it is that your program is addressing. Okay. Remember, you are a problem solver. Remember, you are an asset to your community. Okay. You also want to know that donors are people, right? They are nurtured. Okay. It takes about 12 to 17 donor touches before an individual gives. So it's not like you run out and say, I'm always asked, Jen, where do I find donors? Jen, where do I find donors? Jen, where do I find donors? It's like like we're harvesting them. Like they're in a under an incubator, and then all of a sudden they pop out and say, I'm a donor, right? I'm a donor. They don't run around with name tags that say donor. They don't. They don't. But how do you know that they are a prospective donor? You connect with them. right? You understand what it is that they're concerned about, and you are, through your organization, addressing the areas of concern that they have, right? And then you talk about capacity. That's the nurturing part. The nurturing says, this is what we do. What do you know about what we do? This is the problem that we solve. Can we show you how our work is changing and impacting lives? Would you like to come and see what we're doing up close? Have a tour. Let me share with you some of our program success, right? That's the nurturing, the cultivation part. And then we go on and have the conversation around how would they like to be involved, and what would they need, and what would it take for them to consider to make a gift. Again, it is not an issue of them being harvested, right? They have a name, they have emotions, they have thoughts, and so you want to make sure that you are stewarding them well. Okay, stewarding them well. Another fundraising fact is that you don't want to make the mistake that too many organizations make during a recession. Okay, right now we're at a time where there's lots of opportunity. And I have raised money through the last economic downturn in 2006, 7, and 8. I've raised money through 9/11, through Katrina, right? So crisis fundraising is what I do. But you don't want to make the mistake that many organizations make during times like this, where you spend less on fundraising, okay? Where you spend less on fundraising. You've got to know that the return on your investment of connecting, of communicating, of introducing what you do, is so important. Then how would they know how to give? How would they know how relevant and important your work is if you're not doing that fundraising work, right? If you're not communicating, if you're not sharing? How do you communicate? You articulate impact. You build those relationships. You find out what it is that your donors are interested in. You're giving them lots of ways to give. You're connecting with them and cultivating them. All right. So it's not a kind of incubator process. You're not harvesting them, you're nurturing them. And that takes strategy, that takes intentionality, and it takes focus, right? So usually during the time, a lot of organizations start taking those efforts away and then really try to go harder on the program. But the truth is this: without the finances, there's no way that the program can sustain itself. It just is, it's not possible, right? So just making sure that you are aware of that. So you don't want to, apologize when you're asking. You don't want to apologize when you're asking. Why? Because the work that you're doing is important, and you're giving people an opportunity to make a difference. You're giving people an opportunity to be a part of something that's amazing. There's nothing to apologize for that for. All right. And people by nature are generous people. All right. People by nature are generous people. Now, I don't even want to have to mention that there's close to 3 million nonprofits. Okay. Now, a lot of them are struggling financially, and that's not because of money. It's because they don't have a plan, they don't have a strategy, and they don't have a system um, on how to do it correctly. All right. So I don't want you to feel like, oh my gosh, there's no money. That's not true. But during a time of recession, it's when people are the most generous because they realize that others are hurting worse than they are, and they're willing to share. People by nature are just a very generous. And this is again why nonprofit organizations are so essential and so needed, right? We are the third largest employer behind retail and technology is the nonprofit. So our business model, our system of creating relationships and building relationships and serving our community is essential and important. All right. So don't make the mistake by, not focusing on fundraising. Don't make the mistake by apologizing when you're asking your supporters to be a part of something that's life changing and life transforming. And don't make the mistake by failing to maintain your relationships, right? There may be a recession today, but when the recession is over, These individuals are going to have more resources, and they're going to remember, they're going to be connected. They're going to see the work that you're doing and continue to give. All right. So now is the time to begin to build those relationships, because this thing is not going to last forever. When the economic situation turns, the people that you have built relationships now with will continue to support your work. All right. So you don't want to wait until it's too late. You want to make sure that you're making the ask right now. All right. Right now. What you do want to do is make sure that you have a compelling story as well. All right. People remember stories more than they remember numbers. People remember stories more than they remember facts. Okay. So making sure that you have a really compelling story that really shares the strong case for your support, a case for what you're doing and how your work is impacting people. And recognizing that the story kind of helps with the story of urgency, right? It kind of levels up your case in their mind. Okay. And then you're sharing with them how the work right now is critical and necessary. All right. And then this is also a way that you can engage your board by helping them with an engaging story as well. Now listen, I double dog dare you. All right. This right here is going to be a dare. I double dog dare you to ask your board members about a story that would interest them about giving to your nonprofit organization. All right. I double dog dare you to ask your board about a story that interests them, that would compel or has compelled them to continue to give to your organization. Now, let me say this. If they can't tell you that story, they doggone well are not saying that story out in the community as well. All right. So stories are a wonderful way to connect. Stories are a wonderful way to show forth understanding and clarity and plan. All right. And success. So a story is something that you definitely want to do when it comes down to fundraising. All right. Remember also that small gifts add up. You're not asking everybody for $1,000 gift or a $500 gift. Remember that small gifts add up. Okay. Do not depend on one or two major donors or foundations. Okay. But those smaller gifts, in fact, add up to be more quickly. Those smaller gifts add up more quickly and can have a longer lifespan than those larger one or two gifts. All right. So listen, I'm going to stop here. I'm just going to end this with by saying plan, plan, plan. Organizations fail not because of money, but because they fail to have a plan. They don't have a plan on what to do, how to do it, when to do it, what to say when doing it, right? They're not sure about how to articulate impact. And then the leader doesn't know what to do first in the plan. That means I don't know who to put on first. I don't know who's responsible. I don't know when the deadline should be. And that's why organizations don't have money. All right. So you want to make sure that you are planning, planning, planning. Organizations, you should have goals for the amount of money that you need to raise and what the money will be used for. That's a part of your plan. You, as an organization, should have a goal. What are we planning for in 2021? What are we planning for in the beginning of the year? What are we planning for in the next area of our program growth and development, right? And how much money is going to be needed, and what will the money be used for in that expansion, right? And your detailed plan should also be created that will outline the goals, the objectives, the details, and who's involved and who's responsible. Guys, listen, having a plan is the quickest way to reach your goal. Having a plan is the quickest way to reach your goal. All right. Yogi Berra said, if you got to be careful, it says, you got to be careful. If you don't know where you're going, you might not get there. All right. Let me say this again. Yogi Berra, the baseball player, he said, you got to be careful. If you don't know where you're going, because you may not get there. All right. If many of you are struggling with getting and having resources and revenue and fundraising, for your nonprofit organization? Could it be that you don't have a plan? And if you don't have a plan, you may not get there. All right. I am Jennifer Yarbrough. I am your nonprofit expert. I want to thank you so much for tuning in to this nonprofit nugget. I hope that it was helpful. I would appreciate you just dropping a note and saying, yeah, Jen, that really stuck out for me, or that resonated with me. Anything that I share, I hope that it will inspire, it would engage, it would really awaken something in you to move forward with your plan. There are at least 1,000 people right now who are praying for a solution to their problems, and you are that solution. Your mission matters, your impact matters, and you as an organizational leader matter as well in your community in terms of changing, in terms of affecting and impacting lives. Okay. The work that I do with my team is that we build those plans for you. We put those letters together for you. We really walk you through the steps and the processes so that you can do this work and do it successfully and funded. Let me tell you, it's hard work either way, but it's especially hard when you don't have funds and you don't have a plan to get it. All right. So if there is a way that my team and I can help you do it for you, we've got lots of ways that we can work with you. Feel free to go to my calendar. You can go to www.timewithjen, TIMEWITHJEN, timewithjen.com, timewithjen.com. And, get on my calendar and let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. If you have questions about, what kind of trainings or offerings that I have, you can also go to www.jenstartmynonprofit.com, jenstartmynonprofit.com, where there's um, lots of tools and resources that I can share with you as well. Listen, this is your season, this is your why, and this is your assignment. Okay. I am passionate about this work, and I am passionate about the leaders that I can help to be successful in this work. Your work is necessary, your work is important, and you want to make sure that you are growing an organization that's going to well outlast you, but leave a legacy of change and transformation for generations to come. Again, if I can help you, please feel free to go to my calendar. Let's talk about it. We work with organizations of almost every budget. Go to www.timewithjen.com, timewithjen.com. Feel free to visit my Facebook group, Nonprofit Leaders Impacting Lives. Nonprofit Leaders Impacting Lives is my group on Facebook. You can also follow me on LinkedIn, as well as Instagram as well. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I look forward to seeing you guys in the next podcast, Nonprofit Nuggets with Jen, and you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye.